Hello, Assalamu alaikum everyone. How are you doing? This is chapter 21, Human Influence MCQ questions from past papers. The first question reads, the diagram shows the position of 4 farms and the concentration of nitrate at different points in the river. Which farm is likely to have been using too much fertilizer on its land? A is the one which has been using fertilizers, or much fertilizers. The reason that I chose A, that the level of the nitrates here directly after A is the highest. That's why. Question 2, which effect is least likely to occur as a result of deforestation? A is a correct answer. An increase in biodiversity. This may not happen. Actually, it doesn't make a sense. Question 3, a large amount of herbicide is applied to a field. However, some of the herbicide is washed into a nearby lake. What is the effect of the herbicide on the weeds in the field and on the plants in the lake as well? Less growth in the field, less growth in the plant in the lake. Question 4, when a river is polluted by fertilizer, the following process may occur: increased aerobic respiration, increased growth of producers, decrease in oxygen concentration. What is the correct sequence? The correct sequence is C. As 2 happen first, then 1, then 3. Increased growth of the producer due to the fertilizers, then an increase in aerobic respiration of bacteria, last decrease in the oxygen available. Question 5, the diagram shows how sewage is treated. This is the plan. The question is, why is air bubbled through the aeration tank? Air is bubbled in order to encourage the microorganism to reproduce quickly. 3 human activities are listed: burning fossil fuel, deforestation, overuse fertilizers. Which activities can cause the change shown in the graph? The change is by time, concentration of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere increase. So the proper answer is B, 1 and 2 only. Burning fossil fuel and deforestation. Overuse of fertilizers doesn't have an effect on increasing carbon dioxide concentration in the atmosphere. 7. The careless use of nitrogenous fertilizers near rivers and lakes can cause eutrophication. This results in the death of fish. What is the direct cause of death of fish? What happens if fish do die? Decomposers reduce the amount of dissolved oxygen in the water. This is correct. 8. What is a reason for conserving plant species? In order to obtain drugs for medicinal use. 9. What is reduced after deforestation? What is reduced after deforestation? After deforestation, what will be less? B. Rainwater runoff. 10. The diagram shows 4 positions of a river where water samples were taken: from W, from X, from Y, from Z. Which graph shows the oxygen concentration in the river? The oxygen concentration will stay the same here and there, and then will drop at Y and Z. That's why the proper answer is C. Question 11. Which two gases both contribute to global warming? They must be carbon dioxide and methane. That's why the answer is A. Question 12. Which process may result in eutrophication in the lake? Fertilizers entering from farmland. Correct. 13. Which two gases are the biggest contributors to greenhouse effect? Again, they are carbon dioxide and methane gas. A. 14. Overuse of fertilizers on farmland causes the chemicals in the fertilizers to be washed into ponds and lakes. This causes eutrophication resulting in the following events. Algae grow, fish die, bacteria grow, oxygen decrease. Which is the correct sequence of these events? The answer is A. 1, then 3, then 4, and 2. So, algae grow first, bacteria then grow, oxygen decrease, finally fish will die. 15. The concentration of pesticide in the tissue of organism in the following food chain was plants, small fish, large fish, then birds of prey. Which bar in chart represents the large fish? Large fish, the third. The third must be B. Correct. 16. Which activity will be least likely to lead to extinction of species? Conservation, because it's the opposite. 17. The diagram shows change in part of a lake after it has been polluted by fertilizers from a near farm. At which time will the oxygen concentration in the water be the least? When bacteria growth is the most, which is D. Correct. 18. What is reduced when untreated sewage is released into the river? The answer is C. The concentration of oxygen. 19. The diagram shows a food chain. A farmer sprays his cabbage with pesticide. Which organism does the farmer want to kill? He wants to kill the insect which eat his cabbage, which must be B. 20. Which pollutants of water can lead to eutrophication? Fertilizers and sewage. That's right, the proper answer is B. 21. Which is an effect of pollution by nuclear fallout? Increase mutation rate. 22. The graph shows the quantities of pesticide that accumulate for populations, each at a different trophic level in food chain. Which population is most likely to be herbivore? The answer is C. C. Because he eat the herb, so he must have a little bit higher concentration than it in the herb or in the plant. 23. Which features of deforestation has the greatest effect on atmosphere? The answer is C. Reduction of photosynthesis. 24. The bloodworm is found in heavily polluted water. The diagram shows where raw sewage flows into the river. Where would there be fewest bloodworm? Again, the bloodworm is found in heavily polluted water. The diagram shows where raw sewage flows into a river. Where would there be fewest bloodworm? Must be A. Wherever I don't have any sewage. 25. What describes eutrophication and its effect on a river? C. Nutrients enter the river causing algae to grow. These die and decompose, so the water is deoxygenated. 26. What are the possible effects of deforestation? A would be loss of soil and flooding as well. 27. Farmer put some fertilizers on his field. Soon afterward, there was a heavy storm and some of the fertilizers drained into a lake. What is the effect of the fertilizer on growth of the crop plants in the field and the plants in the lake as well? There would be a decrease growth, the crop plants, decrease growth of the lake plants. That's why answer is supposed to be there would be an increase in the growth of the crop plant and an increase in the growth of the lake. That's why the answer is D. 28. There is an evidence that the concentration of carbon dioxide in the Earth's atmosphere is increasing. Which change could explain this? More combustion of stored carbon compound from dead organisms. 29. Which human activity can cause eutrophication of lakes? Using fertilizers. Insecticides sprayed in low concentration may increase the yield of crop, but may also be harmful to wildlife. What is an explanation for this? B. That insecticides enter the food chain. 31. Which pollutant is most likely to cause mutation? Nuclear radiation, which is C. 32. The diagram shows the result of survey on the type of animals found along a stretch of a river near the factory. Which of the following animals live in the most pollutant water? It's A. Bloodworms. 33. The diagram shows how oxygen concentration and number of bacteria change when sewage is added to a river. What describes the oxygen concentration and the number of bacteria between the point at which the sewage is added and the point P? This is where sewage is added. This is point P. The answer is B. Oxygen concentration decrease, and the number of bacteria increase. 34. On the map shown, sulfur dioxide is produced at X, right here. Which region is most likely to experience acid rain? As the wind is blown in that direction, so it will take it to A. Answer is supposed to be A. 35. Which agricultural activity can cause the most pollution? It's A. Adding artificial fertilizers. 36. The graph shows the levels of dissolved oxygen and mineral ions in a river. At what point does raw sewage enter the river? Must be A, because it will directly cause dissolved oxygen to drop and will cause the mineral ions to increase. So the answer is A. 37. Different pesticides were tested to see how poisonous they were to fish. Scientists found the concentration of pesticides that kill 50% of the fish within 4 days. The table shows the results of the test. Which pesticide was the most dangerous? It's B, the dieldrin. B. Why? Because at least concentration, it did kill 50%. 38. Weeds are growing in crops What should be used to kill the weeds? B. A herbicide, which kill herb. 39. A large area is heavily overgrazed for many years. How does this affect the soil nutrients and the soil erosion? B. Decreasing in the soil nutrients, increasing in the soil erosion. The diagram shows some of the effects of human activity on a river. What could have caused these effects? The answer is C. Overuse of fertilizers. 41. What is a direct result of deforestation? The answer is B. Increased loss of soil. Thank you for watching. Best of luck.